morning to you all. It is Monday and I'm having an alright day. Although, every friggin' morning I can't find Kobe's school tie, even though I put it back in the same place every time. Does my head in. Found it in the end. It is Monday and obviously we're thinking new ideas. Let's create everything a bit more exciting again. I think we like to give ourselves a wee little challenge every once in a while, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We like to give you something different, set ourselves a task that's different from everything else out there. So you guys have been asking us for more houses, which I agree with. Definitely. I love houses. I love doing the housey stuff. But we've been thinking about, we've been planning this idea for a while now. And I said to Calvin, because Calvin's like, right, we need to get a house, we need to start looking at houses. So I started looking at houses. I was scrolling the interweb, and you know what? There's just nothing that was tickling my fancy. And I was struggling for like the area. I was looking at loads of different areas. I looked in the central belt. I looked Edinburgh. Edinburgh's very pricey. I looked at Aberdeen again, and I thought we've done so many houses in Aberdeen. I then looked further afield. I looked at brand new builds, and I got sick of looking at houses. Sick of it. So I then put the idea to Calvin and said, what about, instead of us purchasing a specific house in a specific area, when we're going to have loads of people saying, I want a house here, I want a house there, I need a 3-bedroom, I need a 4-bedroom, what about an apartment, blah, blah, blah. It went on and on and on. And we try to take in all of these things that you guys talk about. And I said, let's say win a house up to X amount, and we'll then pay the LBTT, the solicitor's fees, stamp duty if you're in England, anywhere in the UK. If you're in Scotland, I have a solicitor that we use in Aberdeen, and we would then put you in touch with our solicitor. We would go through them and they would organise everything for you. That's if you were to take the house option. If you were to take the cash alternative option, that's easy. That money just goes straight into your account. But if you are somebody that wants to purchase a house, we can go through the channel of going through our solicitor and putting the money with them for you to then go and get your house up to X amount. So it would be up to 300,000 for the house. So there was a good question in the comment section saying, well, what happens though if the person buys a house at say 280, 290,000?
Any price at all.
Or any price.
You
Like,
might want to live in a 1-bedroom bed set, but that's fine.
yeah,
Fine.
you might want to buy a 1-bedroom flat that only costs, maybe you get a bargain, you got a doer-upper, right? Say you got a flat, £90,000. And you're going, well, what happens to the rest of the money after the 90,000? Maybe you're a first time buyer, so you don't have the second home tax on top. So whatever the fees would then come to, so say you bought 100 grand flat, and then you've got LBTT and solicitor's fees on top of that. Say that's like 10 grand or whatever. So that then comes to 110,000. We would then give you the remainder up to 300,000. If you were to buy a house that is 300,000, we would still then pay your LBTT, your solicitor's fees. If you have a second home tax is a sickening amount of money of 24,000, roughly, say up to £300,000. We would pay that on top of the 300,000. So what we're gonna do is calculate how much it would be, obviously, putting that into the competition. So I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but we've worked out in our minds what it would then be so that we could do that competition. But yes, if you were to buy a house that is a lot less than 300,000 or just under 300,000, if there is money left in the pot up to the 300 grand mark, you would then get the remainder.
That's after all the fees have been paid.
Yes.
The solicitor's fees, LBTT, second home tax.
So
If there's-
only if there was anything left. So say that the whole total came to 299,000, I'd give you the 1,000, if that makes sense. So yeah, Peter says, hell yeah. I'm excited for this one. I just thought, let's do something different. And then if the winner decides to purchase a house, finds a house anywhere in the UK, even if it's Cornwall, me and Calvin would then come and meet you at the house that you pick. And once you've got your keys and all that and moved in, we'd then come and meet you. And I'd want a tour of your house. I would love to have a tour of the house and sit down, have a cup of coffee or some champers and talk about, you know, why you picked that specific house and etc. etc. Brian says 300k cash would be less complicated. Yeah, but it's not as exciting, Brian. We want this competition to be an exciting competition. If it was just a cash competition, you just get the money in your account, and then a lot of the time people don't even want to be bothered with me and Calvin, which is fair enough. You don't have to be bothered with us. But some people would like less of a hassle, I think, purchasing a house where we could put you in touch with a solicitor. You just need to go online and find your house, basically. Go and view it if you want. Don't view it. You don't have to view it. I've done that quite a lot. A lot of these house competitions that we've had on, I've never even viewed the house. In fact, no, we didn't, did we?
No,
Don't think we viewed any of them.
no. I think in the very beginning, the one that Michelle Penny Macintosh one, I think we went and viewed that.
No, we didn't.
We're not?
No, we didn't.
Huh?
No. Because then we have to get the painters and decorators in because I didn't realise how bad the walls all needed painted once we got the keys. So yeah, we didn't view it, I don't think any of the houses that we've put on. Oh no, we did. We viewed the one Cedral House.
Yeah, I see the last.
We viewed that one. But yeah, fantastic idea. I've got my eye on a house, says Natalie. Well, there you go. It would be really handy if you have already got your eyes on a house. And you can manifest as well. So if you enter that competition, you could then actively start looking and manifesting, right, this is how much I've got to spend. I'm going to then go and have a look. And you can then start manifesting that house and, you know, actively looking so that if you do win it, you could go, I don't know what house I'm going for. There you go. So yeah, I'm finding this is maybe the new way we're gonna start like doing it. Kevin says we'd love a first home. Best of luck, Kevin. We just don't know when to launch it because obviously myself, Calvin and Kobe are off on to the Icon of the Seas on Friday. And Calvin's like, oh my god, like we're actually
It was messing about a massive competition in case, you know, if it doesn't sell well or whatever.
Calvin will stress the entire
I
holiday.
sat there on a cruise, kind of, I'm staying in my room because I'm kind of stressed out.
But
I don't know whether just to wait till I get back until we launch something like that.
yeah, I did say to Calvin, well, it's a weighted down payday, so if we don't launch it now, then it'll have to be.
Do we just get some falls and just do it?
Do we get the cojones and we could send out a text to let everybody know that it's live and then send out an email? And then, so by the way, myself and Calvin are doing the Monday draws and the Thursdays draws this week. Kaz and Dale are going to be giving me and Calvin a week off next week. So it will be Kaz and Dale doing next week's Monday and Thursday. Abby says launch it for sure. Lorraine says I'd love to buy a house in the country. Tracy says good idea for people buying their first house. Exactly, Tracy, but this is also a good idea if you want to buy an investment property because we will still pay your second home tax up to the house cost of a 300 grand house. So
we figured it out. So if you already had a house, the price then you'd be basically winning 340 odd grand, basically,
Yeah.
because we would still pay that and we'd have to factor that in because we don't know who's going to win. We
Yeah.
don't know what they're going to take. We don't know if they've already got a house, so we need to factor that into the amount of penalties that we put on.
Natalie, go for it now. You guys can handle this. Lynn says go for it. John says yeah. I just think this is just a miles better way of getting your dream home, because I could quite easily go out there tomorrow and buy a house, but I know with doing so, there's so many people that then start going, oh, I'm just entering for the cash alternative because it's not a house that I want, it's not big enough, it's too small, or it's bigger, too big, not enough garden space. This way, we could then literally we could document the whole thing. We could literally, if the winner, obviously if they take the cash alternative, that's fine. Go on a million cruises if you want. Can you get 2 houses if 150k? So we wouldn't be able to do 2 houses at 150k because then the fees, so we would have solicitors' fees for 2 properties, then we'd have 2 separate LBTT/stamp duty, wherever you are in the UK.
It depends on it worked out.
It would,
If it was possible and it turned out to be the same as buying one house, 300 grand, then yeah.
if it, yeah, so we will have a set limit on what we can spend on the fees. Definitely a better idea for people that want to stay in a certain area, says Sandra. But John, what we are saying, if you purchase a house at 150k, we'll then pay the LBTT and the solicitor's fees, and then say that only came to, just a rough guess, 165 grand, say, for your house that you've now purchased. We will then give the winner the remainder up to 300,000. So
yeah, that's the best work.
Yeah. So then you could then have that extra money for furniture, or if you want to go and look at another property down the line or whatever, you could go and do that. But we will give the remainder up to the 300,000 if you get a cheaper property. After the fees are all paid and the solicitor's fees, you would then get the remainder, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is our idea, and I'm quite excited for it, to be fair. And then today, Karen says, please do more houses. Well, this is the thing. If this works and this goes better than doing a normal house competition, we could then change it up. We could do a smaller one. We could then do a bigger one. Like, yeah. Then an investment house also, says John. So there's so many ideas you could do with it, and yeah, at last keeps everyone happy, says Angie. It does. It really does.
We've been asked for this competition for a long time. A lot of people said, why don't you just put up this competition where a winner can choose their own house? And we often said it's a good idea, but it wasn't until we really sat down and thought about it. It's a really, really good idea.
We couldn't think of the logistics on how to do it before, and then I kind of thought, well, essentially, I would just go to, if it's in Scotland, I would just go to our solicitor, which is James and George Colley in Aberdeen, and I would go to our solicitor and say to them, right, we are purchasing a house for the winner, whoever it is, and then we are willing to pay for their house up to 300,000, and then we'll pay for the LBTT and second home tax, etc., etc. If there's no second home tax, that's fine. That makes it less complicated, but doesn't matter if you have that. And then what we would then do is, if you were to find a cheaper house, of say 100 grand, 150 grand, all the fees, etc., will be paid for. That 300 grand would be sat there with the solicitor, and then they could then just go, right, here's your change. You've only got 10 grand left or whatever. There you go. What would the cash alternative be? So we're putting on a cash alternative of 290,000. We're going to keep this one quite fair. I says 290,000 because it's close enough to the 300 grand of a house. So Yeah, cash alternative 290,000 entries. We're listening to you guys wanting better odds. So we're going to keep it at £10 an entry and we'll make it a full tenner. Let's just keep it simple. £10. You guys liked the £5 house that we done, but then we had loads of people saying that there's too many entries.
We should maybe do a poll
You want a poll?
and just say this next competition, because there's people already saying I'll only enter if it's £4.99. So
Right, I'll do a poll then. When is it live, says Angie?
we can take it as soon as today. We don't need to go house hunting or anything, do we? But it's
I
just,
can put it live anytime.
it's just the fact that do I really want to while I'm away on holidays?
Miranda, you could gift the house to anyone. She says, does the winner need to be the buyer or could you gift it to someone? You could gift it to somebody. So say for instance, you win and you've got a son or a daughter and you want them to get on the property ladder. You could put the house into their name instead of your own if you win. That's not a problem. Put it live now, says John. I am going to go and do a poll of what you guys think the price should be. And then once we have enough answers, or I feel like I know what direction it's going in, I will put it live. Okay? So I'm going to go and do a poll on the main page right now, Bounty Competitions main OG page, and see what everybody's saying. So get involved, have your say, and then once we have enough answers and I feel like, okay, more people are voting this one, let's just do it, then we'll put it on, okay? Right. Get involved in the £30,000. I know it's supposed to end on Thursday, but if that ends today, I will draw it today. It's 99p to enter that competition. I also put live a £2,500. That one is £1.99 to enter. It's absolutely flying. Get involved. And the Ford Ranger MSRT ends today. It's £2.50. Lovely phone call. That will be later on. And we'll be live at 6 p.m. for the draws. Right, I've got some work to do. I will love yous and leave yous, and we'll see yous all very, very soon.